Welcome to part 3 with Isabelle Cherney. Please subscribe, rate, and review Light Up with Shua, and I hope you have watched part 1 and part 2 with her as well. Relationships are very important. I find that doesn't matter who you are today and what you do and how successful you are. It's all relationships. Right?
Yes.
I mean,
Yeah.
whatever
We're a social
relation-
animal.
Yeah, exactly. So you doesn't matter you think that you are not, you don't like people or you can live without people, you really don't.
No,
You
exactly.
have to deal with
Yeah.
them, even if you like it or not.
Well, and you can see that in our biology, right? The first sense that we have is touch, and the last sense we lose is touch. And you can only be touched by somebody else. And so it truly is in our DNA.
Thank you. Yeah, we can talk more about this actually. So, you think marriage is important? Like, should one marry then? Would you recommend people? Why should they or should they not? This is the last question before I move to.
So yes, I do believe in the sacrament of marriage. It does provide us humans, at least in this society, a sense of commitment from the other person that you might not completely get if you're not married. Not to say that that is wrong, no judgment here. Just saying, for me, the marriage has been helpful because it does provide this. I'm committed, he's committed,
Yes.
so we're going to make it work. It's too easy otherwise to separate. But marriage is not for everybody, so I don't want to say that it has to be that way, because there's wonderful long-term relationships all your whole life without being married. But I do think that if you want to be married, that should be something that's available to all,
Okay.
and not necessarily just for a man and a woman. And so, in our society, again, marriage comes with a whole lot of opportunities and some baggage, but also opportunities. And people who are not married don't get some of these opportunities.
You mean the benefits
The
of being
benefits,
a marriage?
yes,
In a marriage.
in a marriage. And frankly, research shows that married people are happier.
Well, is it?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Send me
Especially men.
that. Okay. Good. Yeah, I have heard that too. But I would like to know the statistics. I guess. Yeah. Okay, good. Are you afraid of anything that you would like to share?
I think probably of failure or sort of disappointing.
Now you'll have to describe what's failure,
Yeah,
what's
I think
success.
it's a difficult question.
I have to ask you something difficult.
Yeah,
Right?
well-
You have answer for everything. I have some more difficult questions coming up.
Failure can be it can be small things and it can be big things. So failure for me would be if my marriage failed. That would
So
be,
that's what you're afraid of.
that would be something I'm afraid of. So
Because you said yourself failure. I didn't say it's because I was
Yeah.
like, okay, failure is for everybody different, and
Yeah.
success, the definition
success
is different.
is immaterial in many ways,
Yeah.
right? But failure has it's letting down somebody else, my children or something.
What about you?
I don't think about myself that much, to be honest.
Another difficult question.
It's another difficult question.
Yes.
It
But
is,
it's a serious question.
It
It's
is.
very important, actually.
yes,
I
it
would
is.
say. Why wouldn't you put yourself after all what you have done?
Yeah, because I'm so, in a way, trying hard to not take things personally, right?
Okay.
In some ways, because otherwise my job would be just miserable. That I project it outward. So I'm going to look at it from a positive perspective. And that energy alone gives me the motivation to move forward. If I start to think about myself too much, I'm afraid I would be too egocentric, and that's somehow not who I am. And so it's not to say that I don't do things because it's easier, or there's many times I would rather do the easy way out, and I do. But I don't dwell much on my own self.
Okay. So you're fairly a happy person because of that?
I think so.
Yeah. You stay more positive?
I'm more positive. But what I don't have much of is joy.
That's what I wanted to ask. I was coming to that. Okay, so let's talk about that. So you don't have joy.
I do have moments of joy, for sure.
Yeah.
But I wish I had more of those.
Mm-hmm. And how can you have that? Do you think?
What brings me joy is my grandchildren.
Well,
right
that's
now.
Recent.
Yes,
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah.
So, but that tells me something about me as well. Seeing how I react when I see them shows me something about me that I didn't know prior.
Brings
to that.
your
Yeah.
side.
Yes.
Out. Okay. Good.
So
Self-exploration is continuing. Right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So continue if you have anything else to say.
Yeah, I think joy is
What else? What gives you joy in addition to your grandchildren?
It is to be in a place. So going back to Switzerland these days, I rarely get to do that, like once a year, right, in the summer. I find a joy in just being in nature and sort of in a meditative state, along the lake, and I hear the waves, or it's beautiful, there's mountains. I mean, it's the serenity. So that brings me joy, which when you grow up, you have no idea. It's being in the company of family, and it's these small moments. It's not the whole day, right? It's suddenly where I stop and think and say, "Wow, here's one moment." But I have to really consciously sort of suspend myself from my thoughts and other things and go, "Oh, wow, this is great."
Then how do you express love?
I hug a lot.
Okay.
I think by being there with the person. And I'm a hugger, I'm a toucher, I'm a, whatever. And Americans are not as much. So I have to also sometimes watch myself and say, okay, it's okay. They don't want to be hugged.
Is it more common in Switzerland?
Yeah, because you always do three kisses
Other
on the
cultures
cheek.
all the time.
Yeah. And your personal space is not
so
as far.
Yes.
So you're closer.
It's a very major cultural thing that
it is.
One doesn't realize. Yes.
Yeah. And so I had to learn that now, if I do just a patting on the back,
is enough.
That's enough. I don't have to squeeze. But if somebody gives me the hand, I squeeze, and people go, "Oh, you have quite a
expression, right? Being expressive.
Yeah. I think it's in being, and just being there for them and not on something else. Like if I go into a meeting, I try not to look at anything, but be there. And not, I don't have my laptop with me, I don't look at my phone. I try to just be there.
So what completes you?
And this might sound strange, but in some ways, this presence of, it can be God, it can, whatever that presence can be. It's knowing it's being conscious. It's
Presence of whom? Like, are you talking about?
no, doesn't have to even have somebody there.
Okay.
I
Not
think
the
that
human part. You're talking about.
the spiritual part, sort
Okay.
of the larger
Mhm.
piece, sort of that communion with nature, which can happen anywhere. Sometimes you're like, wow, then, it's just more frequent in Switzerland for me because I don't work when I'm there, and so I'm in a different mindset. Whereas here, my mind constantly is at work. So to detach myself from sort of the everyday tasks.
So you do believe in God?
I do, but it's probably not everybody has their own idea of what that looks like.
What's your idea?
Mine is a woman.
Hmm.
I have a female God. But it's not a person per se. It's a very abstract sort of. It's somebody who you can.
More of a Mother Nature concept,
Yes.
right?
Yeah. It's more like a spirit.
Yeah.
I'm much more drawn to the sort of spiritual piece. Yeah.
All right, let's come to the last leg of questions. And that is, so you have already answered what's wealth for you. So let's go to, what's the value of gratitude in your life?
So that's big. So I tried. I tried to do a thank you a day to the people that have crossed my life. It's hard to do, in part because, frankly, I'm physically exhausted by the time I get home because I have long days here. But I want to do more of that because just being able to acknowledge that this person has meant something. They may not even remember who I am, it doesn't matter. But just sort of an acknowledgement makes me feel good. Because if I remember them, they may remember me. And it doesn't matter whether they do or not, but it's sort of bringing back my life in where I have come from. And everybody I have met has changed my trajectory in whatever way that may have been. So
All mostly positive in a good way, or
there's
can be
a
mix of
there's a mixture.
Okay.
But as I said, we learn much more from our failures and mistakes than we do when things go well.
That's true.
And so I have to be grateful to those who have shown me that you were really a jerk or whatever it may have been. So and you have to be able to forgive. You have to be able to
That's
forgive.
a good point.
That does not take away that you were hurt or but if you don't forgive, it will eat you up. It's
So you easily forgive?
I don't easily forgive.
Okay.
No, it's a work in progress. But I have learned that if you let go, oh my gosh, life is so much better. But that was also something that took a while. It takes a while. And it all sort of comes together, right? If you think of looking at people as who they are, not who you want them to be, as the situations that puts people into things. We don't know everything. We often act because at that time, that's the one thing you know how to do. But you didn't have all these other knowledge and all these other things, right? So, again, in situations, we act differently depending on the situation. So, once you start looking at life that way, then whatever was done to you, or you feel like you were done some wrong, it's like maybe they were reacting to something. Maybe they had a bad day. Maybe, all these other things may have played a role, and it wasn't, I just happened to be there at that time. So let that go. You have no control over it. So it's not worth your forever.
So what about people who might be opportunist or use you or
Well, then good for them. I mean, in some ways, they were able to use the system to their advantage. There's lots of people who have done that. Maybe not lots, but I know people who have done that. And yes, you're angry at first, but then I also have to say, good for them. I mean, I didn't see that. I would not do that.
That's what I was going to ask.
It would be really boring if we were all the same. And it takes a village. So
that's how it is.
Yes. And there's so many things we do not control. And if we spend too much time and effort on it, you will lose what's beautiful about life and the good people you have in your life. And it's not worth it.
That's a good message. It's not worth it. So let it go.
Let it go.
Move on.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else you want to add to that?
It's difficult. It's quite a journey. It's quite a journey. I know I tended to hang on to things for a long time, especially with my parents. And it's hard. It's hard to, but it's like, they did the best they could at the time.
Thank you. So, are you an environmentalist or care for the environment?
Yes.
And how is that? How do you do that? Other than the recycling. I assume you do that.
Oh, yes. Yes.
So.
I even take things home so I can recycle, and I don't see a recycling bin. I'm very conscious about. So, again, I think that's my European background, maybe more come to light, where we're all living in a small space that's limited, and our glaciers are melting, the climate is definitely changing. So what can we do? What can one person do, right? It's easy to say, well, people are not doing their piece, so why should I? Well, no, it starts with you. And so water conservation, whenever, shut off the light. I mean, that's to some extent, it's small things, but it's, that's where I saw my husband not being brought up that way. And so, energy was like infinite, not in our place. And so what happens is things are more expensive if you're using electricity, for example. So I learned to be very conscious, plus,
You're still?
up.
Are you
Yes.
still? Okay.
Yeah.
Has he changed because of you?
No, a little bit. No, he used to he created a program in energy technology, so about solar energy and wind energy and biotech. So, so he definitely is that way too, but he's wired differently and doesn't think about the water or in those terms.
So, do you think water is important?
Yes, it's going to be our number one problem.
Do you think water,
or is?
Yeah. Do you think water has is life? Is a life? Has a memory?
Yes.
So I have to have another session on water because I am so big on it also. Okay, let's go to what is the value of time?
Yeah. We're all pressed for time, aren't we? And it doesn't get any faster or slower.
Do you want it to be faster or slower?
No.
Okay.
I would rather have it slower. Slow down. When you're a child, it seems forever until next Christmas comes around. and you get older, and it's true, it seems to just race by. My birthday's tomorrow, and I'm like, another year older.
Oh, it is tomorrow?
Yeah.
Oh, happy birthday in
well,
advance.
thank
Good.
But it's you celebrate really, you're all happy when you get older, and then you're past a certain stage, and you go, now I have only that many years to live, right? So you start looking at life backwards.
So is it all perspective? Time is perspective?
Well, time is a true unit, right? I mean, it is always an hour or 2 hours or whatever. That's the same. But yes, it's a lot. It's perspective. Plus, time is also gravitationally, and if you go into Einstein's world, it's different out there. But for the sake of the argument, it's certainly perspective. And I think we are so busy now these days. It's so filled with so many tasks that it's really difficult to take that time to feel that joy, to meditate, to really stop the time in obviously not, but in sort of concept. I see it also in the you get home and there's all these other things that you have to do, and unless you put it in your agenda that you're going to do X, it's just not going to happen. It's just too many demands on people's time. So I'm curious to see where the millennials go, because their conception of time is quite different from our baby boomers. They're much more interested in having a balance in their lives in terms of time spent at work, for example, and time with their loved ones. That's not something I was thinking in my 20s or early 30s. So it's really interesting to see that the generational shift is forcing us in some ways to really reconsider how we spend our time.
Thank you for being here.
Save for the moment. Well, thanks
Yes.
for being here.
Thank you for watching all part 1 and part 2 and part 3 with Isabelle Cherney. This is Light Up with Shua. I'm the host, and I hope you have subscribed to the channel. Please do rate, review, and send your feedback. And you will be watching more conversations and interviews and travel shows with me for the new season. So stay tuned, and thank you for supporting the channel.